to share something with y'all. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from here, and this has been like a therapy session.
This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. We're at the IBA boxing event here tonight in Abu Dhabi. I'm joined by one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, Mr. EVANDER HOLYFIELD. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Yeah? You happy, EVANDER?
Always happy.
Talk to me about what you're doing here. You was here yesterday, obviously you're here today in Abu Dhabi. What are you doing here?
Well, with the IBA it's important when people want to make the sports better and fighting for a position to keep us in the Olympics. You know, the oldest sport in boxing, all about to be rejected, but the IBA is doing the job and with me is I would hate to see boxing because that's how I became Olympian, and watching the '76 Olympics and stuff, and knew that I can get on TV, and so and that was a big thing that pushed me forward.
We know there's a lot of issues, especially surrounded around amateur boxing, which you were a part of back in your day as well, but also professional boxing. The IBA outlined their intention to improve everything going on regarding governing bodies, etc. They're working already with the WBA, or the WBA rather are supporting them. So it's good to kind of listen yesterday to hear their wider scope of what they're intending to do.
Well, it is, because it's just like early learning, and it's early boxing. I wouldn't be who I am if I didn't start boxing at the age of 8. At 8 years old, had a lot of up and down like this, but if you don't quit, you're gonna be great.
Okay. Now, obviously, every time I speak to you, Evander, I always like to get your thoughts on kind of the current situations around boxing. We saw Tyson Fury in action 2 weeks ago, pretty much today, against Derek Chisora. Did you watch that fight, Evander?
No, I didn't get a chance to see it. I guess the big thing in boxing in America, they don't show all the fights, so you don't get a chance to keep up with it. I remember a time that when boxing was on, that's the first thing you're going to see.
They should give you free cable, though, in the US, surely.
Well, but not so much. It's just, if I knew it was coming on, it don't get the exposure that it used to get. I remember a time when everybody knew who was fighting.
Yeah, I mean, I understand your point, obviously, because I'm from the UK and both fighters are from the UK. We kind of knew it was obviously going on, but outside of that, I suppose, exposure is everything.
Well, with exposure, it's just, that's what brings the people in. Because my whole thing is that, because I remember the guy 17, 18 years old was on TV. And I'm like, I thought you couldn't be on TV unless you did something wrong. You was great, you were rich. But, once I started seeing boxing was on television, at 17 years old, you could be on TV. I got to work hard. I'm going to get there.
Do you know what? I remember, obviously, during your fighting era, I remember watching Fresh Prince of Bel-Air one day, and I saw you come through on one of the scenes there, and I was like, this is brilliant, because you did the scene with Karen Parsons, who played Hillary, and you came in, you was there for like 2 minutes, and you smashed that. Do you remember that scene?
Yeah, I just became the heavyweight champion of the world. I'm like, it was amazing to become the heavyweight champion of the world, then they asked you to be on there. I'm like, it was a thrill.
Just coming back to, obviously, Tyson Fury, his next fight could be against Alexander USYK. That transition, that cruiserweight to heavyweight transition, something you know a lot about. I mean, how do you look at this fight if it does happen? Hopefully it does happen, because it will be hopefully for undisputed as well. But how do you look at where USYK is now and someone so big as Tyson Fury?
Well, the thing is that I remember being overseas and USYK told me, I'm going to do the same thing that you did. And like that, and he almost done it. Is he fight Tyson Fury? He would. But when I look at the fight, it's both of the guys are good fighters, but, the smaller guy got faster hands. As a smaller guy, if the big guy don't make the smaller guy fight like him, he gonna win. Because that's the reason why I went up, because I realized I was quicker than everybody.
When you look at someone like Alexander Usyk, and we were talking earlier with Kevin Johnson, who's fighting tonight, and he said years ago the biggest you would have faced was like a 6'3". Now these guys like Tyson Fury and Joshua are like 6'6", 6'7". How much of a difference does that height make?
It makes a lot, because the fact of the matter is the big difference is this. Back in my days, this guys were too big, they called him goofy. And the guy didn't even perform well. But now, these guys, big guys, they got the rhythm and they got the balance and they got everything that a smaller guy have. So it's difficult. And, I'm telling you, it have grown difficult because these guys start at a young age. It's just like early learning. Sports is pretty much the same thing. If you start at a younger age, man, you can be so much better if you're bigger.
For someone like Alexander Usyk, who I suppose in the current heavyweight scene lacks a bit of size, but definitely doesn't lack skill. This guy is one of the most skillful boxers we're going to see in this era. But how do you see that fight playing out if he does fight Tyson Fury?
Well, it's pretty much how Tyson Fury fight. If he let the guy got fast hand, he got good combination. It's hard to stop a big guy. But that's the reason why I moved up to heavyweight, because I would have the advantage over the guys that was tall and bigger, because they throw one or two punches and then they don't like to get hit. So if they get hit, then all of a sudden they crumble.
Just the last one, obviously, Anthony Joshua, who has suffered 2 losses back-to-back against Alexander Usyk. They're talking about him potentially fighting Deontay Wilder next year at some point. What do you think about where Anthony Joshua is right now in his career, and what do you think about that potential Wilder fight?
Well, Anthony Joshua is a good fighter, but I guess if you don't throw enough punches and you don't use your size to your advantage, I'm telling you, he's a big guy, and he got to use the jab. I'm telling you, everybody knew Stevenson had a great jab, and and that's pretty much what he threw. Half the time he get you sleep looking at the jab, then you get hit with the right hand, you're out of there. I'm telling you, pretty much Anthony Joshua pretty much could do the same thing, because he's a big, large, and good fighter. He actually can box. But you have to be a little bit more aggressive, and you have to use your size to advantage. Meaning that sometimes he get with a guy, he won't overbearing, he won't push you down, but they trying to push him down. So you have to play the game out right to not letting somebody out hustle you.
Do you not ever feel like with these heavyweights sometimes? I was talking to Roy Jones yesterday, and he wants to reach out to Anthony Joshua, but he wasn't technically in that weight category to do that. But you, for someone as esteemed as yourself that has that knowledge, do you ever feel like getting in touch with some of these fighters and saying, hang on, let me try and give you some advice here? Do you ever feel like that?
Well, I kind of feel that when people want something, you have to ask yourself. Because, I'm telling you, who is I to think that I can just come up to a person and say, look, man, let me help you. I'm like, pretty much, when people really want help, they ask for help. My whole thing, my mama said, look, you've been this way your whole life. If you don't ask nobody to help you, ain't nobody gonna help you. And so, the thing is, Mal, if he would ask me, I would say anything, but it just, for me to go out my way and to make him feel that I'm better by me coming up and stepping up to you and say, look, hey, let me tell you something. I wouldn't do that out of respect. Out of respect, you know, he got a lot of people around him. He got a lot of money. He can buy what he wants. And so, you know, do he really want it?
No, the way you explain that is perfect because, like I said, it's all like that was your era when you were fighting, etc. This is now Furies and Joshua's and Wilders and all these guys now their era. So I understand that mentality of you saying, you know, if they want the help, I'm here. I'd speak to them, but if not, who am I to say to them? Hang on, let me help you.
Right, absolutely. You know, the big thing is courtesy, respect. You like this, you know, you see things, but you know, if the guy that never come to you, then he probably really don't want it. You know, this is how you take it. You know, but I remember when Anthony Joshua getting ready to fight Klitschko, and he seen me. He asked me. He said, "What should I do?" I said, "Man, be first. If you be first, man, ain't nobody gonna get to you." And he won the title. But the point of the matter, he asked me. I ain't gonna run up to him and say, look, I got something for you. The fact of the matter is that, you know, because he said that, I had to think of, you know, he got the long arms and he's strong. Be first. You know, because that's what my coach used to tell me. He say, look, in anything in life, be first. You know, don't get hit second. You don't get hit first because you get knocked out. That'd be over. If you hit him first, let him worry about if he gonna get knocked out. You know, so the art of the game is life.
Just a very final one. Where do we get hold of these edible ears from you and Mike Tyson? Because in the UK, I've tried to look for them. I can't find them. Where are they?
Really, I don't know. They just invited me in, and it's amazing that Mike and I, because we come together, everybody's just so happy and all this and stuff like. And you know, and so they always ask me. I say, look, man, Mike and I always have been friends. I said, but I don't know why boxing actually make y'all feel like y'all had to be enemy. I said, I never been his enemy. I said, you always been good to me. You know, I said, things happen. You know, my whole thing is that, you know, when I got in fights and they were bigger than me, if I couldn't get out, first thing I would do is bite somebody, get them off of me. You bite somebody, they get off. That means that, hey, you won. All right. You know, but that's it. But, you know, I didn't get offended. It's a part of life. You know, I'm saying when things happen, it's just part of life. These are things that happen.
I know. I was trying to explain to someone who was talking to me about this. They showed me like an image of this edible thing that, you know, with you're doing with Mike Tyson. They said, I don't understand this. They said, Tyson bit Holyfield's ear off and now they're selling edibles. I'm like, I can't get my head around that. But I suppose you as a fighter, you explain that well. You don't. It happened. It's done with. And now you guys are kind of doing whatever you're doing. But yeah, for people that don't really understand that kind of perception or concept, it's, I suppose, a bit weird. Yeah.
Well, you know, life is about forgiving. You know what? You know, by me being the youngest in my family, all my brothers can probably tell you I bit them. I had to get them off of me. You know, they smothering me. They bigger than me. I can't get them off. You bite somebody. So, you know, even when that happened, people ask me, how you can forget a guy? I said, man, as a kid, I was the smallest one. If I couldn't get a loose, man, I'll go bite. I said, you know, but I ain't bite him to hurt him, but bite him for them to let me go. I said, that's it. I said, that was just a part of it. So the whole big thing is that, you know, I came up, you know, in the church, and life is about forgiving. So, you know, you hurt somebody, you got to ask God to forgive you.
Evander, appreciate your time. True gentleman. Enjoy the event here at the IBA here in Abu Dhabi. We'll look forward to some great bouts tonight. Jalalov, we're talking about big heavyweights. This guy's like 6'8", 6'9", so we look forward to that later. Have you got anything else you'd like to say before we finish, sir?
I'm all good.
Good. Appreciate your time, sir. Thank you.
I'm going to share something with you that might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from here, and this has been like a therapy session.